Everybody, welcome back to the Billy Club, the show where we take a look at the adventures of Marvel's fabulous Crimson Crusader through his many adventures, starting all the way back with his first appearance in 1964 and making our way to current, stopping for all the relevant DD news that fits along the way. I'm Nico, and you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NicoAction. That's NicoAction.
And I'm Tori. You can find me on Twitter at Tori_Sheehan and on Instagram at SMTori. That's Tori with an I, as well as finding this whole podcast and everything and all your socials at the Billy Club Pod.
I am so fucking excited to be here today because originally, we were like, we're just going to stick with 60s stuff and make our way to current, and that's going to be really cool. And then there's been all of this amazing Daredevil news in the last couple of months, and it's been so exciting because, I came from the comics originally, you came from the show originally, but we both agree that they're two parts of the same whole. So I'm so excited getting to talk about more Daredevil TV stuff.
I'm so excited. It's happening. It's all happening.
Now, speaking of it's all happening, as the Billy Club is continuing to grow as a program, we are hoping to capture the attention of some really big name products. And we were actually hoping that we could use this as an opportunity to get ourselves some sponsorship. And we were hoping that none other than Miss Titania herself would be looking to sponsor us with her amazing She-Hulk product line.
Strength is beauty. Beauty is strength. What makes you beautiful? She-Hulk by Titania.
I mean,
oh my God.
How could you not want that to be your sponsor? Titania, if you're listening, we are here to be your vessels.
Yes. I shouldn't have to look for the exact shade of green that I need. I should be able to pick it up straight from Titania.
And, I think since to some absurd degree, folks here seem to be obsessed with her verdigris, I think it's okay to be a little bit Wicked She-Hulk right about now. And I could not be more excited because I have been loving every minute of She-Hulk, the TV show. It has been such a beautiful representation of what makes the character incredible. Every performance on it is spectacular. And it seems as though we are set for some even more spectacular performances. Now, Tori, are you current on She-Hulk, the show?
I'm a little behind, but I mean, the excitement towards it, like all of the fan comments, all of the like buzz around it has me just like so amped to find the extra time to watch it.
And it's got my number one hottie from the Marvel movieverse right now. As a number of the sexier actors have retired or moved on, and certainly nothing against my tied for number one, Chris Hemsworth, but Benedict Wong has been putting in just the hottest, funnest, silliest, best, most incredible performance. And it's so great to see Marvel being like, you know what? We don't need to rely on it always being Doctor Strange. We don't need to rely on it always being Spider-Man. And that's how we're getting some unbelievable Daredevil coming up in She-Hulk. Now, this past weekend was the D23 Expo out in California, where they released a lot of news. And Tori, we finally have a little bit more of our precious boy in yellow.
Look at him! And also,
look at him.
Face without yellow on it. Oh my goodness.
I can't. That was me getting all Twitter pated. My heart, my ventricles were just going crazy. This is so amazing. And one of the things that I love is there's actually new footage associated. And, it's not just that Daredevil's appearing, it's that Matt Murdock is appearing that has me so excited. And, it's that sort of footage that I think makes something like D23 Expo so exciting for everybody because you never know what's going to pop up. I thought She-Hulk's already on. Wow, how are we going to get more footage and then check it out?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so exciting for me to see it highlighted that Matt's going to be in this. Matt is always my favorite part of Daredevil. I don't think you can have one without the other, and I think that it will provide me with what I'm always looking for, which is more trial Matt Murdock.
Yeah, and our incredible producer has cut together all of the footage that was released, making it look so good, making Daredevil look so good, Matt look so good. There's something sexy about the idea that Matt's going to meet a mind as equally great as his, this reminds me of a lot of like the classic 90s Ally McBeal, The Practice kind of crossovers,
Yes.
where one's a little bit more out there and silly, one's a little bit more serious and powerful, but when they come together, it's still a homogenization of brilliance and beauty. And I'm just so stoked because like we he's yellow.
I know. Like he went from red to yellow, and like I don't know how that happens or why that happens, but I'm so amped to be like to dive into this little corner of Matt Murdock and then
Yeah.
see what it grows into soon.
You know, we also know that there's additional scenes in No Way Home, and there's at least one that will include Matt Murdock in the upcoming No Way Home extended cut that's making it into theaters. It might even be out by the time this hits. I'm so excited that Matt Murdock is really beginning to see a rise in popularity as a feature, you know, because I feel like that's one of the things that he brings to projects. When Matt Murdock appears, it lends a little bit of credibility to both the character and the project.
Yeah, I definitely feel like instead of where we are now in the comics in our coverage, where it's other people providing legitimacy to to Daredevil's title, it's when Matt Murdock shows up in other titles nowadays or has his own event, you get that gravitas, that excitement, that specific, you know, interconnectivity between all of them. That's just really fun. And he can bring it as either Matt or as Daredevil.
Agreed. And, you know, I think something that needs to just kind of be said is that one of the reasons I'm proudest of making this show in a lot of ways is that I'm lucky enough to make this show with a woman who is not just in comics and a comics fan, but is, you know, eager to connect with that idea of being able to voice critically. I know that it's not always safe for women to interact in this medium, let alone feel welcome to.
Mhm.
And with a show like She-Hulk, where we're going to get Matt in a show that is identifiably feminist. You know, it's so important that, you know, the voice that I'm doing this with, the voice that, you know, is the co-anchor with me, is somebody who can speak to whether or not this character is being represented in a feminist identity properly.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very interested to see how they treat Matt, if he's going to be someone who's trying to rein in She-Hulk, if he's someone who's trying to like if he's just going to be butting heads on the trial, or if it's you know the hot uh you know, he plays the hot gal who comes in and, you know, spices things up a little. Like I think those could all be very feminist forward takes for She-Hulk to endeavor upon, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. And I'll be very excited if it's all of them.
I couldn't agree more. And, you know, we just did that amazing Daredevil omnibus wrap up, and I really loved taking a look at it and all of the ways in which Daredevil is so frequently a character associated with women. And one of the characters that I think doesn't get enough association with Daredevil, but needs to get a bit more, you know, for all of the Elektras and now She Hulk sort of connectivity. Echo got her start in Daredevil, where she was one of the most influential things on that character for an incredible period of time. And that's where the movie iteration of Elektra initially came from. She's sort of a copy skin of Echo. And so, knowing that at this past weekend's D23 Expo, once again, they announced that Kingpin is going to be a major player in the world of Echo, which is spinning out of the events of the Hawkeye TV series. You know, Vincent D'Onofrio was fear for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot get over just how excited I am to have that fucking brick wall of a man back as Kingpin.
Yeah, I am so amped that it's not just like a quick one off and then he's going to be staying away from the Hawkeye world. Like I'm really excited that they're using him for all of these like these great guest spots where he really gets to chew into something exciting. while still leaving him open for other projects.
Yeah. And, he's just such a bigger than life character and man. Vincent D'Onofrio was not an actor that I really appreciated, actually, before his performance as Kingpin. Now, just to kind of color where I'm from and my experience with life, I watched a lot of Law and Order growing up. And half of it was because I wanted to see how many of the local actors I could recognize. But, the Broadway people that I
Yeah.
obsessed over getting these tiny little roles and then that night going on to play Valjean, so
That's the Gilded Age now.
yeah, I mean, the two different kind of barricade scenes you could get if you were a New York actor in the 90s.
Exactly.
But Vincent D'Onofrio is from like my least favorite Law and Order, and like he was my least favorite thing about him. And what the fuck? He's the Bugman from Men in Black, more water, or whatever it is. I don't really connect with Vincent D'Onofrio. And then he killed a man with a car door, and I was inappropriately aroused, and I was like, yes.
I think we all were. I think we all were.
Mhm.
It's the most I've ever really understood why Vanessa is so attracted to Wilson Fisk. The sheer power, the dominance, the larger than life quality that
Totally.
that she's in. Like, you can see how you're like, oh yeah, I'd climb that mountain. I'd ride that
Oh, yeah.
train.
I'm a dominant top, and I'm like, all right, Kingpin, I'd wrestle. I know I'm going to lose, but I'd wrestle.
You'd give it a
Right?
shot.
Give it a shot, a couple of whacks with the stick. And
Yeah.
I do really think you can't talk about Daredevil without talking about the duality of the character, the nature of Kingpin and, Daredevil as this sort of didactic, locked in eternal struggle kind of balance. And, one of the greatest joys of my life, like, and not even being silly, is that we share Born Again, which, I read it every year on my birthday. It's my personal work. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we have this Born Again TV show coming up, and the way they announced it was that they kept Vincent D'Onofrio on the stage after the Echo kind of cast announcement,
Mhm.
and he said, "Oh, we're going to talk about my show," and off stage, Charlie Cox is like, "Your show." And, they bring him out, and I just think God, they are these characters for me in a way that it touches my heart,
And like, I think also, as we go through these superhero movies, some people want to do it just to like be part of the genre. Some people want to do it for
Right.
the clout. But I think that these are a pair who, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were comic nerds beforehand, but they understand what these characters mean to people, what they mean to the fans, the history, the importance, the layers that you can get to with these characters. And I think that it really shows in how excited they are, and how much they want to be part of bringing the show to fruition.
I was lucky enough to be at a couple of the early announcement kind of moments for Daredevil as a TV show at NYCC panels, and there's this very clear memory I have of Vincent D'Onofrio up on the stage, just like a fucking refrigerator of manhood. And he's like, "I hadn't read the book before, but I got my sons, and we walked into Midtown Comics. And we went up, and I bought all the Frank Miller, all of it. And what they didn't have, I had them get. And I read it, and I said, this is a character." And I was just like, okay, all right. And just, oh God, the man, he sounds like somebody channeling thunder through an anvil. It's incredible.
It's amazing, and it's such great casting and such a wonderful choice, because Kingpin can be done very incorrectly.
Oh yeah.
Or like change him into something he's not. And I feel like Vincent D'Onofrio brings that larger than life without having to pad himself out to provide the size that the comic books give to the character.
And I think that that's in part because they understand how to utilize the without fear of it all. And you have to make Daredevil afraid. And that's so hard. And Vincent D'Onofrio, with every one of those grunts and slams, and every time his eyes become frightening, he gives me someone to think could be so big. Not that I ever think they're going to kill Daredevil off, but he's so big and so scary that if someone could, it'd be him.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like if Daredevil is ever going to be brought down, I would imagine it would be slamming into the brick wall that is Kingpin. And I think that Vincent D'Onofrio brings that so much into the role, and just, I mean, I don't know how to provide more nice things to say.
Oh, wow. So I just need to check. Is that our brilliant producer, Kevo, bringing up the panel in question? Oh, I'm trying not to cry on camera. Okay. That was like one of the greatest days of my life. And I got to share it with longtime collaborator of the three of us, right? So the Billy Club team, the Karen, Foggy, and Matt of us are also occasionally joined by incredible pencil artist and fan artist Taryn Inglima. He's phenomenal and does amazing work with us over on our series Kid Riot. And we got to share this moment with him at NYCC a number of years ago, Kevo and myself. And you can see Ben and Vanessa and the owl, and it's just this idea of getting born again. And I do need to be honest, I hope that because some of Born Again got used, I do hope that a little bit of what we get is the Wade run, and there's a false hope to it all.
Yes, a shininess, a
Yes.
shallowness that underneath goes very, very deep and dark.
To match this beautiful logo, which I've been trying to be a little bit more connected with what a logo might mean for a lot of these shows, because logos say so much in so little. So when I see this lettering, I see that it's a bit different than the previous Daredevil lettering, which was a thinner look. It was a little bit more sleek. This is a blockier look, and we know he's at least getting this admittedly somewhat blockier color costume. It's the color blocking. It's a really different vibe. The Born Again logo is given as much value, I think, for its size as the Daredevil logo, and the cleanness, the perfection, the thick power of that DD for me, with the Marvel Studios logo inside of it. This really says that we're going to be entering an era of Daredevil that visually is crisper than where we were before.
That's so fascinating, because what I take from this logo is the fact that it's beaten up, that it's like a painted red that's got some, that's been worn in certain places. To me, this feels very street, much more
I love that.
street and darker, and trying to push this idea of someone who's been through the ringer a few times. So like the logo itself is very much giving that to me. And then the title, like, yes, it's shiny, yes, it's bold, but I feel like it's that kind of ordinary escalated that you see for institutional signs.
Okay, yeah.
And so very formal and also very constricting. So
the only thing I wish, and I know it's so me being very particular, I would give anything to have the Braille lettering like affected into the background, even though it would be a symbolic gesture, because this is a logo. It needs to matter to the character or not, and we can build it into the iconography or not. And we, as sighted people, need to not take for granted just because we don't need it, it doesn't need to exist. And while it is as, you know, effective at cops the scene of the crime after the fact, I think putting the braille in the logo, even if it's not touchable, normalizes the experience of associating the braille iconography with a character whose visual identity matters.
I think it would be a very neat way if like the letters spinned into the braille or
Oh
spinned out of
yeah.
the braille. Like I think that would be really fun. I think
We
I
can do
think
it with
there's
the
a
echo.
lot of yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that they can really play with this and turn it into something that more highlights um Daredevil's specific niche in the superhero canon.
And you know, speaking of really solidifying Daredevil's niche in the superhero canon, there were actually a few more things that happened in the last couple of days or weeks that really kind of connect with Daredevil. And one of them had me so excited. You know, there's been a lot of stuff coming out of the D23 event about cross branding power, and like we're seeing really cool things for characters that we maybe wouldn't have expected to see so many good things for. That Werewolf by Night trailer
Whew!
has me I like, you know, that is the hottest fucking trailer Marvel's ever released.
And I only learned about that character like 5 months ago, and I'm just
On
like, this is
on
where we're
X, I
going?
think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, that they purposely went with a Latino actor, and that they're going with such a clear vision of genre.
Mhm.
Oh man, that I have to put out there that made I definitely felt like I felt my werewolf instincts come through on that one. It was
Ooh.
it was good. But
Mhm.
there was some other really cool news, and one bit of news even involved our boy. And I actually, when Kevo was reading it to me, because we took a long drive, and we are with X's for Podcast co-producer TK this weekend at his amazing place up in Maine, enjoying some beautiful fall foliage. And so Kevo's reading me updates while I'm doing this drive from Jersey up to Maine, and he says there's going to be a Marvel ride, and it's going to have some sort of King Thanos, and you know, I'm thinking some sort of like big jack motherfucker King Thanos, and it's just basically Thanos with a wispy beard. I'm fine with it. I'm not here for anybody to get hurt. And I said, but of course, it's not going to involve Daredevil. And I sort of rolled my eyes, and Kevo was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm sorry." Oh my God, wait a minute. And then Kevo points out to me that not only is Daredevil in the image, he's literally the figure behind Thanos.
It's I mean, what like what better placement? What like they could have put anyone back there. Anyone. And
Anyone! They put our boy.
they choose our little blind boy who just punches real good.
Choose our boy. That's like, oh man, and look, he's literally physically closer. I'm like trying to point at my screen. I'm so excited. He's physically closer to the action than Spider-Man is. He is just about as big as Spider-Man. He's bigger than the Caps, and you know, we have that beautiful array of three Caps. We have Captain America. We have Falcon as Captain America, who is just
Mhm.
as beautiful as Captain America. I almost said as beautiful as Falcon, and yeah, he's that too. We of course have the incredible Captain Carter. Um, and just behind Daredevil, we have Daredevil girlfriend, Black Widow. Hey girl,
Yay!
we love you. I I'm just over the moon. I can't believe and this is gonna be a ride. This is gonna be something that everyone who goes to Disneyland is gonna have an opportunity to experience, to engage with, and it's our boy. And it's just like that's the best fucking feeling. And that hey, there's his new buddy She-Hulk right up in the front.
Yeah.
I just really feel like we're being rewarded for dedicated fandom for so long.
I really do feel like that. And I love
Oh,
that,
and
you
Werewolf
know,
by Night. I see that, Kenny.
Werewolf by
Thank you.
Night, Ms. Marvel's over there. Like, I really do feel like they are highlighting the things that are coming out on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
We've got the Mighty Thor in there. Like, we have so much in here that might make people be like, oh yeah, we should check those out. Because I do know that there are people like my father who don't really watch stream shows, and so he is very confused about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But like that there are people who are like, well, that's just one step too far. There's too much. And so I really do feel like this is a way to get everyone into the Disney Plus shows by showcasing them. And the fact that they're already putting Daredevil into it is really super important.
And just to harken back to our first ever Daredevil news update, we talked about how Daredevil is going to be featured in the upcoming Spider-Man cartoon series in that amazing yellow costume, looking so fucking fly. I love him so much. Cartoon Matt has my heart. It looks like that's one of the same Spider-Man style characters, right? He might be into the Spider-Verse character as well, but we do have a super animated Spider-Man flying next to Spider-Man, which really plays into the fact that they announced that this is the multiverse saga. So we have multiple Spider-Men, and it's red suit Daredevil, not yellow suit Daredevil, which is what they're currently producing and pushing. So it feels like this could be a multiverse kind of Daredevil vibe. So I'm really eager to see where this all goes. I'm really, really proud that Avengers Campus chose to include a hero that at least denotes the idea of accessibility and the ending of othering in superheroics.
For sure. I completely agree. Oh, it's everything we could possibly want. This synergy just for us.
I know. Well, synergy just for us is... So since the Walt Disney Company, which, total honesty here, Kevo and I have worked for the Walt Disney Company before. We are big Disney people, but that does not mean that we are incapable of being critical of the company. And you're definitely going to hear me be critical of plenty of decisions they make. But there are certain identities about the Disney Company that will always make me, if you're asking me who's the greatest superhero that the Marvel Universe has, it's Mickey Mouse. Yeah. And anyone who's ever seen Fantasmic can sure say that Mickey Mouse walks on water and he's amazing. And over the last couple of years, Disney has done a number of promotional images, whether it was special covers, special variants, or art for Disney projects, celebrating the combination of these two beautiful properties. And this year, they're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company and the 60th anniversary of none other than Peter Parker himself, the Amazing Spider-Man. And we got these two beautiful images featuring corporate synergy, one of Mickey with a bunch of heroes, including Spider-Man, as well as one of the Fab Five, as well as Spider-Man celebrating Disney's 100th. This is such a lovely balance of images. We have some really beautiful character pieces here. We've got, Dumbo in the background, a personal favorite character of mine. But more than anything, in the left panel of the 60th anniversary Spider-Man issue, surrounded by all of his friends celebrating, if you look just behind Captain America's elbow, you can just make out a horn-headed teddy bear with a DD on his chest. I do believe we have us a Daredevil. Now, just to put this out there, my gaming handle on everything is Daredevil. So this is literally just for me. I'm Daredevil 86 on Google Play Games. I'm Daredevil on Nintendo. I'm Daredevil. That's my shit. And I could not be happier about that cutie little man just hiding. Hey, cutie little man.
Little tummy and ears and horns.
And I even love that he's right in front of a yellow bow. So it's even like a little bit of the yellow. It's just perfect. It's so sweet. And it's the kind of touch that really says that Marvel is considering this character in a real way. And I'm just really excited that Disney is too.
Yeah, I definitely think that is a moment that did not have to be there, that no one would expect it. And then to just see it added in, is just so sweet and so darling. So I love that they included him. And I hope we get merch real fast.
Oh, please.
All of these Build-A-Bear Lokis and things. If we could just get a Build-A-Bear Daredevil, there's probably going to be a lot of people signing up for that.
I agree. I super do. Mm-hmm. And I would love, ultimately a realistic interpretation of what Daredevil can bring to the Marvel Universe. I feel like he's a slow simmer character and has been fighting to enter the cultural vernacular since the medium success of the Daredevil movie, starring Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. Of course, the Elektra film was not a success. There was no sequel. The far superior version of the Daredevil film is the director's cut featuring Coolio. Don't know what to tell you, but I really feel like this is a cool time to be a Daredevil fan, and I feel like we're being rewarded for long stood service in the character's name. And I love that we have so many news items that we have to keep doing news specials.
It's now become a thing where I'm just like, so last week we did a couple episodes. Is today a news thing? And you're like, yeah, we got stuff.
I am so excited to get to all of this with you. And obviously, when Daredevil's episode of She-Hulk drops, we're going to drop every fucking thing in the world. We're going to record that motherfucker immediately, get that out there. We're going to... You got to do this. We're going to talk.
We're going.
So, but Tori, with all of this on the horizon, the only thing I need to say is the only character we know that is joining Matt is Kingpin. I love Kirsten McDuffie, and I love, Mila, and I love Heather, but no one can replace Foggy and Karen, and I really need them announced very soon.
Yeah, I feel like that is one of those things where it might be about nailing down what schedules work between Charlie and Vincent before moving on to everyone else.
Yeah.
Because not to say, but to say, unless you drag Rosario Dawson back, those are the two that are the busiest out of them generally.
Sure.
And which is not to say anything about the actors. Hire them, please hire them.
I am.
But I believe that that's probably what it is that it's probably nailing down what the schedule can be like before approaching everyone else. I don't think that we are in a world yet where Karen cannot be part of Matt's journey.
Agreed.
Especially if we're going to do Born Again and we've taken out a bunch of things and we're going to add in some other stuff and maybe push forward into Wade. I think that, not to say that we're going to fridge Karen, but she might get fridged. So I think that's better to happen.
Be some time in an ice box.
Yeah, and I think that is something that would need to happen on screen. So
I hope, but until we return, talk about more Daredevil news and Daredevil comics, if we ever get to the comics again, right? Tori, where can everybody find you online?
Again, you can find me on Twitter at Tori_Sheehan and on Instagram at SMTori. That's Tori with an I. Nico, where can folks find you?
Well, you guys can find me all over this amazing network on all of the programming here at HTML alongside our incredible producer, Kevo, who does so much amazing work making incredible backgrounds like this, the cut-togethers of the videos, all of this phenomenal graphics work that you see all over this. He's the guy running this in the background while we're talking, making sure that we never look like assholes, even though we sure sound like it sometimes. But we love everything Kevo does. You can also check out the rest of our show's work over at xsforpodcast.com, where you can find Tori, Kevo, myself, as well as countless others, Nathan, TK, and more, where we all talk about a huge roster of Marvel's most recent releases, sometimes even include an old hornhead himself, as well as over at X's for Podcast on Twitter. As for me, you can find me at Nico Action. That's NicoAction on all your socials, except the gaming ones, where I'm Daredevil, apparently. Guess I outed myself on that one. You can also find our original work at KidRiotComics.com, which is featuring the amazing antics of a super speedster just trying to figure out how to grow up queer, cool, and a superhero all at the same time. You can also check out my work in Young Men in Love, a recently released queer anthology featuring some amazing creators. I can't even believe I get to be a part of it. Okay, that has to be everything, right?
Kinda, I think. Call us, Titania.
All right, girl, we're ready. Look at the background. We kept it up all episode. All episode.
We did it.
Strength is beauty. Beauty is strength. What makes you beautiful? She-Hulk by Titania.
Oh, I was dancing to the song, and then we came right back. Okay, so until I come back to drop it down a little bit harder, I guess. Tori, I guess I have to because of what I just got caught doing on camera. But so Tori, until we come back to confirm that Titania is in fact sponsoring the Billy Club,
Stay fearless.
stay fearless.
Yay!
Yes to that.
Titania.